Like we're live. Robert, can you confirm that? I'm so excited. We did a test today this afternoon.
I'm seeing Restream is showing that it's sending data, so that's good. It says online now.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, guys, you know what you need to do. We have the man. We have Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I know all of you are excited because not only are we going to be talking about cytokine storms, but he also, whenever you have your questions, you can ask your questions. But I ask that you type in a Q. Many of you make comments and talk amongst yourselves. So if you type in a Q, then I know you have a question for Dr. Fuhrman. And whenever we can take little breaks, we will. But today we're going to talk about cytokine storms. So let me start the recorder so that we can get ready for our podcast. So today we are talking with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I always invite all of you to join us, and I always invite you to invite your friends, because everything that we learn from Dr. Fuhrman is very helpful for our bodies. So today we're going to talk about cytokine storms. So fasten your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow together. Here we go. It's time to dance.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough, if you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
I don't know if you can hear me because all of a sudden the big old mute started saying, but hello, my listening friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, many of you have been dealing with COVID, and I don't want to say that word too many times because whenever you use it, you get flagged and all the stuff happens. And so just know we're going to be talking about viruses, okay? And what promotes why is it that some people get really sick with this virus and other people don't even respond to it, don't even react? They don't even know they've had it. They're going around and they're just living their life as usual. So today we're going to talk about, with Dr. Joel Fuhrman, world-renowned, best-selling author. He's been coming into the classroom since 2015, one of my greatest teachers in the classroom that I've learned so much from him. You know, and I know that every time he comes on, I learn something new. That's the goal for the day. You may know everything about being a nutritarian, but today you must learn something new because we're going to talk about cytokine storms. What are they? How can you prevent them? And you know, since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is here to do just that. Welcome back, Dr. Fuhrman.
Hi, glad to be here as always.
Hey, by the way, is Petey with you? I didn't even ask you.
No, Petey was stolen from me by my daughter Tanya.
Still stolen. Okay, so we need to get Petey too.
Petey is he's living in luxury and I'm living in a hotel room. I'm homeless.
You're homeless.
Yeah.
I think it's nice. I'm glad that you're there. It's all good news that you're homeless. This is a good homelessness.
Yes.
So today, Dr. Fuhrman, we're going to talk about cytokine storms, and we've heard that word a lot. actually, Dr. Fuhrman, I've heard of exosomes and cytokine storms, and I'd like to maybe dive into both and what they mean and how do we prevent it. So share a little bit about you're dealing with, have you dealt with patients with COVID?
You know, I've spoken on the phone with people and given them advice. So I haven't really seen or taken care of the sick, really ill COVID people in the hospital situation where they are, or have people come to my clinic or my office with COVID. But I've dealt with people who I've spoken to who either were sick with COVID and I could advise them appropriately.
Yeah.
But in any case, I mean, my main message and my main passion is to tell people that they have to protect their body before they get COVID, not after they get COVID. You can't, because part of the problem with people getting seriously ill with COVID is taking all these medications that they're giving you, and they're giving so many drugging people, and the drugs are causing half the problems. And once you're in a hospital situation, even being put on a vent can be very dangerous if they don't put the vent on the right setting and they give you too much, your percent of oxygen is too high. In other words, what I'm saying right now is that you have potential damage from a disease itself, and you have potential damage for the care given for the disease can also be harmful or can cause some problems.
Yeah.
But my passion and message is to tell people, don't get put in that situation, to keep yourself well, and that our exposure to any virus, COVID included, is totally in our control. Our reaction to a virus, that the state of the host, the nutritional state of the host, is the major factor influencing your reaction to a virus. So even though COVID is a novel virus, even though it can cause damage, even death in a certain percent, it really is going to hit people who are eating poorly, have poor nutritional status, who've aged their stem cells, their thymus, their immune system, and they've caused a whole host of problems before they were exposed to COVID. So whether you're young or old, we have ubiquitous nutritional deficiencies, phytochemical and antioxidant deficiencies. We have a whole population of overweight people that are destroying their immune system with food. And then when they get exposed to COVID, we're saying, oh, so-called it hurt a normal person. It hurt a younger person. It hurt a person with no known chronic illnesses, and it hurt that person. But let me make something clear. Those people it's hurting are not healthy people on excellent diets with good immune systems, or it wouldn't have hurt them. So this is in our control. And of course, my message is to tell people more about how the harm from viruses can occur, so it doesn't have to happen to you. And that's what we're talking about a little bit about today.
Yeah. And in fact, for the last 5 months, it's all been about the second chance. For many of us, this is a second chance to turn our life around, take our health back. And I'm always so excited to hear, the different recipes and the different reasons. There's a lot of new listeners, Dr. Fuhrman, that may not know you, that have been following me because of they're just new to the classroom. More and more people are new to the classroom. And just in case people don't know about Dr. Fuhrman, just know that Dr. Fuhrman has created the nutritarian lifestyle. A lot of people ask me, are you vegan? I say, no, I'm nutritarian. And this lifestyle promotes G-bombs. So here we go. Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, nuts. And so that is your baseline to be a nutritarian, and delicious, delicious, healthy food. And I always say, people say, oh, that's to die for. Yeah, it is to die for. The food with a nutritarian lifestyle is to live for. So that is something that I want all of you to understand, that you can eat healthy and it be absolutely phenomenal. So Dr. Fuhrman, with that in mind, I wanted to talk to you about the differences between that, because you have somebody on a nutritarian lifestyle that you're working with now, and you're saying, okay, it's time to get your health back and choose your health with your fork and what you buy and what you put in your pantry. But let's talk about people that are currently in the standard American that are in the standard American diet. What happens when something foreign enters their body? Because we can talk about, the nutritarian lifestyle and how that promotes health. But today, there are more people that are obese, like you said, and that have other comorbidities, that when they see anything, whether it's the virus or it's foods or alcohol or something that they're doing to their body, what is happening to their body when they're being affected by something that's harmful?
Right. And that's, we have to talk more about that, because I know a lot of people think that only 75% of the population is overweight or obese, and it's not that at all, because the authorities use a BMI of 25 as a demarcation line separating normal weight from overweight people. And I'm saying if we use a BMI of 23, which is more commensurate with healthy people around the world with long life, then we classify 88% of the people as being overweight. And the reason this is so important to start this discussion is because I'm suggesting that even 15 or 20 pounds being overweight, even moderately being overweight, has a powerful effect at suppressing immune function and increasing risk of cytokine storm. When your fat cells have swelled, they spew out adipokines and lipokines, and they keep a chronic state of inflammation going on, which the chronic state of inflammation makes your immune system, ages your parts of your immune system, and you could say impairs it right away. And then, the body produces cytokines in response to antigens from viruses, yes, but it produces pro-inflammatory cytokines and anti-inflammatory cytokines. So as it releases cytokines, which are proteins, which direct the immune system what to attack and where to attack. These are proteins that control the immune function and
they're released from our body. So our body knows to release this automatically. I just want to understand a little bit more.
That's right. The body produces these substances. The body makes and produces these cytokine substances to help us, to protect us. They're there for our behalf. It's only when you have unhealthy, overweight people who are not eating healthfully that the body produces an excess amount of pro-inflammatory cytokines. And then the anti-inflammatory cytokines and the other regulatory T cells, you could say the T cells that can also regulate the cytokine response, don't function normally. And so there's not enough of anti-inflammatory substances being produced by the body, because the body can't make those anti-inflammatory substances that control the release of cytokines. So now, and by the way, 28% of deaths with COVID they expect, and they are finding, are from cytokine storm, excessive release of cytokines. And I'm just making it clear that people thinking, well, if you're young, if you're healthy, if you're eating healthy, you're going to have an excessive release of cytokines. No, that's not what's happening. The excessive release of cytokine comes from people who are overweight and eating unhealthfully. And there's no such thing as a healthy overweight person. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
That's the reason for my, infection protection book or my emergency weight loss. If you're going to stay overweight today, you're crazy. Do what you have to do to protect yourselves, because the extra fat on your body was eventually going to kill you prematurely, but that eventual may have been 20 years from now, but it may be 2 weeks or 2 months from now, being overweight could be killing you. Yeah. And we don't know, and you can't stay 100% having virons not be in your environment, in the air, under your mask, or, you can't protect yourself 100% certainty from exposure. The only thing you can do is improve the host's response. When you do get infected, we can minimize the infectious response, keep the viral load down, but that just gives our body a better chance to react appropriately and get rid of the virons before they can replicate. That's why most of us who get exposed or positive to COVID on a test never even felt sick, because we were exposed to a small viral load and our immune systems were intact. So we appropriately built up the antibodies, didn't allow the viruses to replicate, and we got immunity to it without having to get sick, because we had the appropriate response to viruses, because we already prepared our immune system, and our obviously exposure to nutrients was to prevent this abnormal regulation. So what I'm saying is that fat cells chronically spew out reactive oxygen species and pro-inflammatory substances, which increase estrogen circulation, suppress immune system, and keep you chronically inflamed. So now when you are exposed to an antigenic virus like COVID, because you're already stimulating the immune system so much, it can't respond quickly and appropriately. And then when it does respond, it overreacts and responds in a bizarre and uncontrollable fashion. So So I just want to make clear the harm and deaths from COVID are not normal. They're representative of an abnormal population eating a diet that's not fit for human consumption, that causes heart attacks and strokes and dementias and cancers. And of course, it's going to cause an abnormal response to a novel virus at the same time, because the person is already sickly and immune suppressed. And that's why, of course, they're going to eventually get cancer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's even more serious than what we're talking about when it comes to this novel virus that we're looking at. Okay, so there's always a gift. I'm sorry.
I didn't understand what you just said.
I was saying that cancer and diabetes those are diseases that we are facing now on a daily basis because of these choices that we've made.
Yeah, but those may happen 10 years or 20 years in the future, but COVID's right now. So
right now. Yeah.
That this immediate threat is more serious.
Correct.
For people, because now's the time they have to get their extra weight off.
Yes.
Right now, they have to start eating right. They can't play around with this any longer because their life is in a balance that could be shut down. You know, a lot of people who think they're healthy, but they're not. Or they think they're not overweight, but they are. They have to start to get physically fit right now and eat right.
And with that, what I want you to know, that when Dr. Fuhrman is in the house or when we are in the classroom together, there's always some gifts. So here we go. Dr. Fuhrman is giving away 4 PDFs of the Infection Protection Program. That's the Transformation 20 series that he has. So we did the infection protection. We did it for 21 days. It was phenomenal. We did it with the Heal Tribe, and it was just unbelievable. So we're giving away 4. And we're also, and when I say we, Dr. Fuhrman is giving away 4 of the emergency weight loss. So if any of you are watching today that have not won the emergency weight loss, then you can try for it again. And I know that the emergency weight loss book, PDF book is ready. So if you've won it, you know you got it. However, we now have 2 of these books. So that's 8 books that we're giving away today. This is what you need to do. You need to claim it. You need to say, I am claiming my health back. You claim it, and then you text me your email address, 407-373-5959. So remember, these are the 2 things you need to do to participate in this, because we're going to pick 8 names. You need to let me know if you want the emergency weight loss program or if you want the infection protection program. So we're going to give 4 and 4. So on Friday, I'm going to pick 8 names. So start claiming it now. Claim it in your comment section below, and also claim it at 407-373-5959. Dr. Fuhrman, I am just so excited because this is, yes, you said this is currently right now urgent. And this is a second chance for many people. I've seen so many people turn towards health, turn away from medications. And so this is a really good time for taking our health back. Now, are you seeing, okay, so what is the difference then between an exosome and a cytokine? What is an exosome?
Well, they're all proteins produced by the body.
So, okay, so these are things that are released by the body. The body is so beautifully made. And when it's working well, it releases, go ahead.
They're not harmful substances. They're beneficial substances by a healthy body. The healthy body doesn't produce things to hurt us. We're not producing cytokines and exosomes to cause problems. We're producing them to do a job.
To protect us. So it's supposed to protect us. But when there is an abundance of things that the body thinks it needs protection from, that's when it creates more and more and more, and it becomes worse, right? I'm just trying to make sure that people understand that the healthier you are, the less you will respond to these viruses. Because what I heard just recently, and I want you to confirm this, or maybe this is nonsense, I don't know, but the viruses it's not the virus that kills us, but it's the response from the host to the virus.
Yes, essentially that's true. What I'm saying is that the body controls its response to the virus, and it's a foreign substance that's multiplying, taking over our cells, and the body has to produce a response to clear that virus out away from our cells to protect ourselves. So the body does so, and it produces it directs us to attack the virus itself and also the cells infected by the virus. Now, in doing so, there's some beneficial things that occur because we utilize viruses as a way of getting rid of waste in our body that's built up in general and getting there's some self-cleansing and self-repairing and healing mechanism that goes on. We catch a simple virus. It's not all bad. Having colds is somewhat beneficial to us. The period of we don't eat as much, we produce more mucus because we're washing away the viruses, the dead virus particles, but also this excitation that goes along with attacking the virus and getting rid of those cells and virus infected cells is also helping remove certain noxious waste in the body at the same time. So when the virus clears itself, the body might be left in a more youthful or protected state. So even the virus itself may have some beneficial effects. I'm not saying COVID per se, but getting sick when you're healthy is not bad for the body. It leads to more immune responsiveness. It leads to better health. And the immune memory, of course, also, and the exosomes, which help contribute to immune memory and responsiveness appropriately. And we see another virus like that only occurs when we're healthy and we're normal. And what I'm saying right now is overweight people don't produce the right immune memory with the memory immunoglobulins and the memory exosomes that are necessary to protect us when we're exposed a second time to that particular antigen virus. So let's say, using COVID as an example, you've been exposed once and you get it. Now, if you get exposed again 6 months later, you could get it again if you're not in good health. But if you're in good health, the first exposure should have the immune memory should be working appropriately. The second exposure is going to mean nothing to you. And even a response to a vaccine when they have a vaccine out. It could be that people who have poor health and are overweight because they have impaired immune system and impaired immune system memory, the vaccine's not going to work well on these people with poor health or poor diet and are overweight. So this idea that we're going to respond to a vaccine and that's going to take care of all the problem. Don't forget, we're dealing with a population committing suicide with food, eating fast foods and ice cream and donuts and pizza and fried foods. And then any kind of thing we do to the body is not going to result in a normal response. We're going to get a bizarre response because we made our bodies into a bizarre state of chemical, a chemical cauldron of substances from the standard American diet.
Yeah. So this is a great wake-up call. Many people get a diagnosis, and that diagnosis becomes their wake-up call. And so today you are being called to wake up and say, okay, I want to claim my health back. It's not very difficult. So Dr. Fuhrman, what are some of the things that you're seeing out there that you've seen in your whole career of, using food as medicine and helping people restore their health and prevent future damage to their body? What is the first thing that the first step, other than claiming it and wanting it, what do you see is out there today that people need to do right away?
Right, and thank you for that question, because that's exactly an important message, because people might be listening and think that, well, I'm already 30 pounds overweight, I'm 60 pounds overweight, I'm a goner, and I can't just suddenly become thin, and what Dr. Fuhrman wants to occur is never going to occur with me. That's, they all have, it's negative self-talk.
Correct.
And people have all this. And
like you said, that's how the addict talks to themselves. That's what you've said so many times.
They give up. But so what I'm saying, what I've observed, when we measure these inflammatory molecules, when we measure the level of white blood cell activation, when we level the level of, all these factors that create a higher degree of inflammation, myeloperoxidase, HSCRPs, when we measure these pro-inflammatory blood markers that will tell us this person's at high risk if they get exposed to COVID. And what I'm saying right now, within 4 to 8 weeks of doing this program, the remeasurement of those blood tests are back to normal again.
Wow.
So we're not seeing 4 years or you have to lose all your weight that you gained, but the program is so effective that as people are losing weight, as they're still overweight, but they're also still in a weight loss, they're losing weight each week. But the measurable pro-inflammatory substances that we know are so dangerous are lessened within a relatively short period of time. And particularly by 8 weeks, most people are back to normal again. So what I'm saying is so don't give up. Now's the time to get your immune system to be fixed. And even if you have 100 pounds to lose and you're not going to lose those 100 pounds for a full year, do start today, because you can immediately halt some of the dangerous effects from your fat cells, because they're chronically spewing out bad actors from your fat cells. But as the fat cells are shrinking, and as you're flooding your body with phytochemicals and antioxidants, in conjunction with moderate caloric restriction, because you have to be moderately caloric restricted, so the body is burning up some of the fat cells every single day. But as that is occurring, the body's pro-inflammatory and immune suppressing and immune damaging actions start to repair themselves and be halted in a relatively quick fashion. So that's where I'm saying this is an emergency. People could start this right away. They can protect themselves within a series of weeks, and they can protect their whole life. But now's the time to begin this, and there's no excuses not to start. And if you have an excuse, you're crazy. If you have some kind of excuse you've come up with, then you're really crazy, because then you're ready to gamble your life over a piece of pizza.
Well, it is.
Bacon.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You're willing to like flirt with death over a piece of bacon. It's like nuts.
I've coached many people that tell me, I can't give up meat or bacon or donuts. I can't give up. And what I tell them is, then you're telling me, what I'm hearing you say is that you want to be sick, that you are embracing diabetes or you're embracing cancer. What I want people to see is that you're not giving up your donuts, you're embracing good health. And that mindset, and we've done a lot of classes just recently on the mindset change of the addictive mind, because these foods, Dr. Fuhrman, and you've said this so many times in the classroom, are intended to make us addicts. That they're designed. Share about the design and the billions of dollars that they spend to hook us and steal our souls.
Right. If there's anybody out there listening and you're not embracing this information, then it's because your mind and your ability to think logically has been taken over by these artificial and dangerous food substances. And not even call it food. We call it doof. DOOF. That's food spelled backwards, because you've got to be a doof to put that in your body.
I learned something new today.
I always tell people the food doesn't taste that good once you're in the coffin.
Geez, you have a way of just hitting it out of the park, Dr. Fuhrman. Okay, so I want to remind you, today you're going to claim your health back. If you haven't, so I've been nutritarian since 2015. From the first time I met Dr. Fuhrman, I went, okay, this is the lifestyle that fits me, because you can be flexible. It doesn't have to be all one way or all one, but yes, there's some allowances for meat. If you must eat meat, there are some allowances. What, 5 to 10%, Dr. Fuhrman?
Yes, we certainly say that people should be eating between 0 to 5%. In other words, especially in today's times, and where a little bit of seafood may have been appropriate years ago, more and more we're getting a spike in the plastic contamination of the ocean, including smaller fish, where we used to think just bigger fish were polluted with mercury and other toxic metals, but now even the smaller fish that live closer to the shore have a higher degree of microplastics in their bodies, and those microplastics get inserted into your body. And both plastic and arsenic are immune system altering agents and can an increased risk of cancer too. So we're saying that we have to be very cautious with contamination nowadays in the modern world. And that's why we're limiting animal products to maximum of 5% today, because of the contamination issue. Even if you had, where it may have been okay to have, for some people, have 10% of fish in their diet, but even that's way too much nowadays with the pollution in seafood.
What a great point. It's really sad what we've done to our planet, isn't it? And you and I have talked about before that if there wasn't a pill to take for whatever diagnosis you have, what would you do differently? And so today I am imploring you to claim your health back, text me at 407-373-5959. Let me know if you need the emergency weight loss or the infection protection. Which one, Dr. Fuhrman, do you think, what does the infection protection, share a little bit about why you wrote the infection protection and why you wrote the emergency weight loss program?
Exactly. Well, thank you for that too, is because, I did have an emergency weight loss program or emergency diabetic program in my book, The End of Diabetes, and also in my book, The End of Heart Disease. I had some in those books. And also, actually, in my most recent book, Eat for Life, I actually have a plan that's more strict. I have a few different menu plans for different degrees of aggressiveness and strictness. And because I'm faced in my life and my career, a lot of people who have urgent need to lose weight, that's life-threatening even. They're having chest pain. Their diabetes is out of control. They're on medications for their blood pressure, and the medications aren't even working. They're overweight, and they're in a high risk, and they have in a high risk category. And to get out, and right now, even though I had written similar emergency weight loss plans with lower caloric exposure and and give people the recipes that fill them up with the most volume of lower calorie foods to make them drop weight faster and still make it possible to reduce their calories further than my even normal recipe menus, because these people are urgently need as much help as they possibly can. And right now with COVID, I brought that back out and wrote the whole booklet, the emergency weight loss plan for a lot of people that are just overweight, because I consider this an emergency with COVID, being overweight with COVID. And we got to get some weight down pretty quickly to start out with. Let's start out and drop 20 pounds, and then you can continue to lose a little slower after that if you want, but let's take 20 pounds off in this for next month. So the emergency weight loss plan is for two things. One, there's a reason why you should be losing weight at relatively rapidly right now, because you're in too much danger to stay where you are, or even to stay near where you are. Some people are faced with upcoming surgery, and the doctor says, it's too dangerous to do surgery on you with this much body weight, and we got to do this. There's a lot of reasons why people need to lose weight more rapidly. So it's just one of my more aggressive plans, and so that's and I feel it's apropos now more than ever, especially for that segment of the population who hasn't opened up to what they need to do right now. The infection protection plan isn't that different, but I focus on that we're not, dealing with people in an emergency situation. They don't have to be that caloric restricted, to under, let's say, 1,000 calories a day on my emergency weight loss plan. So they're more in a normal, low calorie, but not that restricted calories. And they're still utilizing all the delicious recipes and all the important immune supporting foods with the right amounts of each foods to maximize immune function, all the high phytochemical foods. Because what I'm also saying, you can't just eat kale to get good immune function. You can't just shovel in all those broccoli sprouts, because broccoli sprouts are high in sulforaphane. I'm going to take so much sulforaphane, I'm going to wipe out prostate cancer. It's not the way it works. You need a whole symphony orchestra behind you, playing every instrument playing at the right level and the right tune and have the right tone. So it's the right level and right amounts of all these nutrients, and there are hundreds of them and thousands of them to get maximum immune function. So when eating onions and scallions may decrease risk of, cancer by 60%, you get the full protection when you eat the greens, the mushrooms, the cruciferous greens, the berries, the flax seeds, when you eat the full spectrum, including scallions. I'm not mentioning scallions lightly here, because scallions are a hugely protective food against viral infection, hugely protective. So even mushrooms have, even though we think of them as anti-cancer, but even mushrooms affect the body's response to viruses. Even mushrooms control an excessive cytokine response and help us manage immune system. All these things play a role. What I'm saying right now is the nutritarian diet, as far as I know, the only diet scientifically designed to include the full portfolio, the full symphony orchestra of all these protective foods. There are good diets around compared to the American diet, and we know a lot of the blue zones around the world have relatively good diets, but nothing is in the category of excellence of a nutritarian diet that takes the best point of all these diets and have the full exposure to all these beneficial nutrients and substances, for the body can have them take advantage of nutritional science to have the maximum effects and the maximum benefits and the maximum protection against COVID. And that's what people need right now, and that's what the infection protection does.
And by the way, the recipes, if you think that eating healthy tastes bad, think again. You haven't seen one of Dr. Fuhrman's Nutritarian lifestyle changes books, all all his books have recipes, but these PDFs tell you what to eat, what to buy, all the stuff from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you will be full of nutrients as opposed to, sticky paste in your stomach. And so I want to encourage all of you to text me at 407-373-5959. Claim it in the comment section. Text me 407-373-5959 and let me know which book you want. It's the infection protection or the emergency weight loss. 4 and 4. That's what we're giving away. Okay, so I got some questions, Dr. Fuhrman, from YouTube. That one of them is from Nirvacho Richie. Okay, so it says, to Dr. Fuhrman, if you live in a country where access to vitamin B12 isn't possible, yet you want to maintain a vegan diet. So I guess they want to know what to do.
Yes, to be clear, you have to take a source of B12 on a vegan diet. So and that's too dangerous not to. It's not just you get weak or fatigued. It could cause permanent brain damage. It could cause paralysis. And in my career, I've seen people that were severely damaged from B12 deficiency. So I've seen people come into me on crutches who were paralyzed and who've lost their livelihoods. And, so in other words, it's particularly could be potentially harmful. So you have to take a B12 supplement. So you better order it from another country or you better eat some animal products. So you have to do one of
that's the only way you can get it is animal products. And how often should you have animal products? What equals 5%, 0 to 5%?
Well, we're talking here, 5% doesn't supply you with enough B12. So you can't idealize your animal product intake and expect to get enough B12. So we don't want to take chances with people's lives. So they should have a small amount of animal products every single day.
Okay. Okay. And so what is the level of B12 that's good for the people?
Well, I don't know that for sure. If they don't have, I would check with a blood test. You're saying they're in primitive area because.
How do you get into that sweet zone for the B12 if you don't have a supplement?
Well, the normal level in the blood is between 200 and 800 or something. But we're saying that levels between 200 and 400 could still be deficient.
Oh.
So if your level is 200, 300, 250, 350, you could still be deficient. But at least that's a cheap test. It's available everywhere. So at least people know that they're not 100, they're not 50. You know what I mean? They're not in an urgent situation. Mm-hmm. If they are running between, if they are anything below 400, they should probably get an MMA or a homocysteine or take extra B12. What I'm saying is that if the B12 is relatively low but not super low, then if you needed more B12, if it was dangerous or some damage was occurring because of low B12, then the homocysteine would start to perk up too high. And the MMA, methylmalonic acid, would start to raise too high. So if you want to get those more expensive tests, an MMA or a homocysteine, that could explain and demonstrate that, yes, your B12 level is too low for you. So if you want to be as close to a vegan as possible, and you don't have access to supplements, then you could also just take a blood test to see if you have adequate amount with the amount of animal products you're consuming. I want people, we're finding more in the most large scale, definitive epidemiologic studies that look at hard endpoints. We're finding consecutively, one study after another, shows more animal protein eaten in a diet means for more shorter lifespan and higher rate of cancer. And more plant protein eaten in a diet, lower rates of cancer and more extension of human lifespan. We're trying to eat as much higher and plant protein adequate foods, but in doing so, we lose DHA, we lose a little zinc, and we certainly lose B12, which is the most important loss. So we try to supplement for those things where, as we're eating more plant protein, as we're getting that animal protein low, we're also maintaining some of the beneficial nutrients that could have come from animal products. You can't go to that low level of animal product consumption, or you can't go completely off it if you don't have some access to a supplement, especially B12 is the most important one.
And you have a B12 supplement as well, don't you, Dr. Fuhrman?
I have a series of multivitamins that I make for people who eat relatively healthfully, that don't have folic acid, don't have vitamin A, don't have beta carotene, don't have these harmful ingredients. There's a lot of harmful ingredients in synthetic and in conventional supplements. Mine are targeted to more a narrow range of ingredients. And they only have the B12, the zinc, the iodine, the K2, the other beneficial substances people need. So yes, I designed my supplements to aid people who follow my dietary approach
Got
to
it.
get the extra benefit, who are people who are eating relatively healthfully already. But the problem is that I'm also stating that conventional supplements, which are very inexpensive, have folic acid, synthetic. It's made from petroleum, or synthetic beta carotene, synthetic vitamin E. They have supplements that are, the supplemental ingredients are not lifespan beneficial and can increase risk of cancer, like prostate and breast cancer, from using those conventional supplements that contain that contain folic acid. Folic acid is not the same as folate. Folate comes from green vegetables. It's in beans. It's very easily accessed, and any person eating a healthy diet has a huge blood level of folate. It's only people not eating unrefined plants that have low folates. But then when they take folic acid, it doesn't have the same, it's not the same thing as taking folate. And so they think they can take folic acid to get what's in, and that's what leads to the problems with our society, where people are taking folic acid for pregnancy to reduce birth defects, instead of eating the folate from green vegetables, which, because now this folic acid is increasing breast cancer in the women. It's creating more risk of immune system disorders and autoimmune diseases in the child whose mother took it. It's increasing risk of, so there's all these detrimental effects of people relying, and autism, of course, because childhood cancer is occurring because acute blastocytic leukemia, because green vegetables during pregnancy, prior to conception, and getting folate from greens as opposed to a supplement is the secret to protecting your child against autism and cancer later in childhood cancer. And so we've got, where our society has just gone in the totally wrong direction.
I know.
Believe it, thinking this pill's going to solve the problem, which just leads to a whole constellation of injury and tragedy that occurs because people are looking for a pill instead of eating this from the food. So when we use a supplement, we're using just them. We're not trying to replace vegetables. We're just trying to add what the animal products would have supplied in a conservative amount, not high dose, and not flooding people with things they don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, my registered service mark is you can take a pill, you can take responsibility. This is where we take responsibility. So I want to encourage all of you to subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com. That's my website. And this is where we all gather and take responsibility. And by the way, when you subscribe, you get lots of different gifts and prizes and discounts and all of that. And you also get a blog, before anybody else who is going to be in the classroom. So I want to encourage you to go there and subscribe. Also, while you're there, make sure you like and follow all my social media, subscribe to YouTube, BitChute, and all the different, that way we can be connected. Now, finally, I want you to go to my sponsors page and check out all my sponsors. I'm not going to go into them. Just go check them out real quick. We have Keep Me Safe Organics, First Alternative Care, the Pharmacy, Live Longer Medical, Ground Therapy, Brain Tap, Avasia, and then of course you can become an enrolled student. So please take care of my sponsors the way they're supporting the classroom. Also, you can go to my shopping bag, and there is Dr. Fuhrman's website, and you can get his nutraceuticals, or you can get his you have the emergency protection weight loss, or the emergency weight loss that you just did a boot camp the other day. And how did that go, Dr. Fuhrman?
Oh, so exciting. I love working with people like this, because they're passionate, I'm passionate, we're encouraging them, and I love their reaction. And we have so many people staying on after the boot camp ended, continue with the 6-month weight loss challenge, losing 5 BMI points for a $500.
That's right. That's right.
So we have a lot of people staying on, doing that. And everybody who was, should be, whether they're going for the contest or not. Contest is just an extra motivational thing to help people. But whether they're doing that or not, everybody should be continuing going in that direction and moving towards if they have extra, body fat, body size to lose, they should be moving towards that and doing it now. And we're giving that extra support. So I'm, obviously, I love doing what I do, and I love working.
I know you do.
Seeing their faces and talking to them and hearing their stories and encouraging them and giving, and giving it to them straight, and really, and trying to think about how I can have the most goodwill and the most positive effect on these people, so that what I'm saying to them really has an effect, so they can change. And it has to do with mindful eating and thinking about your future and thinking about goodwill for other people, and getting more appreciative of your life in general. So we have so I love to be in this position where we're, how should you say, sharing information that can help people like you're doing.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Fuhrman, I'm so grateful every time you come on because you are changing lives, and it's so wonderful to be able to partner with you on that. Okay, so we have another question from Sherry Kirkpatrick. She says, my husband is faithful to whole food, plant-based lifestyle to stop, hopefully reverse his heart attack. Or heart disease, sorry. He is reintroducing sugar 3 tablespoons a day. What do you say? I am frightful of deviating from SOS free.
I say go back to eating bacon if you're going to do that.
Yikes.
That's the
That
stupidest
is,
thing I've ever heard in my life.
yikes.
I think all the nutritional scientists in the world, no matter where they're coming from, agree that the most dangerous thing you can do for heart disease is eating sugar or honey or maple syrup and taking in those sweets. And by the way, white flour and white rice is the same as eating sugar. They're high glycemic carbohydrates. What I'm saying right now is all the controversy in the medical profession and the science and the nutritional community about what's the best diet for heart disease. The controversy is due to the fact that when people cut back on animal products and substitute more highly refined carbohydrates like sugar and honey, by the way, and white bread and pizza or pasta, heart attacks rates do not go down, they go up. So you have all these people are advocating paleo and other diets saying eat more meat because when you eat more carbohydrates, heart disease rates go up, not go down. And I'm saying these people, everybody's nuts. Just because they're not comparing animal products to squash and to spaghetti and to
Of course not. That would make too much sense.
Right, they're
Yeah.
comparing animal products to eating white flour pasta and pizza and white bread. So the point that I'm making is, yes, whole food plant-based is the way to go. Nutritarian is the real way to go because it refines your whole food plant-based to a whole different level of excellence. But the most important thing, more important than anything you're doing, is not eating sugar. That's like the craziest thing to possibly do.
I know. I was reading it and I had to read it again and again. I'm like, okay, well, why would you reintroduce sugar? I mean, there's other ways to reintroduce something sweet. I mean, Mojule dates are so tasty. And by the way, your chocolate cream pie, by the way, Dr. Fuhrman, I am addicted to that.
We have all these delicious desserts with fruit. And even if you want to put a little bit of conservative dried fruit to sweeten it a drop, but our taste buds get changed. And to put sugar in, that's an addict. Only an addict would want to do that. Because once you eat healthy for long enough, you realize that the sweetness of natural foods are plenty sweet. Plenty sweet. And we can make the most delicious dessert with just fruit. Even just a banana with some walnuts and real vanilla bean powder frozen, whipped together, makes an incredible ice cream. You don't even need more sweetening. You don't need a date. Just a banana alone has enough sweetener. You don't even want it sweeter than that. But there's so many hundreds of recipes we have, and including incredible dessert recipes, that this person will feel so satisfied and taken care of without having to add real sugar back.
It is. And every time I hear people as a coach, I hear people say so much, oh, that's too difficult or and I can hear you're like my Jiminy Cricket in my head when it comes to nutrition, Dr. Fuhrman. I hear you say, oh, they're talking like an addict, like they need crack or they need, cocaine or heroin. That is, if you hear yourself. And we're not trying to, and I thank you so much for that question. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about the question either. And I hope you don't. But when you write something like that down, or when you read it or you say it out loud, I hope you see how that's going to harm you. Sugar is not needed in your life to be reintroduced. So there's other things you could.
The question, by the way, it was the wife who asked the question. So we can
She's
say,
going,
your husband's a moron.
So tell me something I don't know. Okay, so here we go. So Melissa, and by the way, I am loving all of you claiming it. Remember, that's part 1. Part 2 is texting me, 407-373-5959. Text me your email address and text me which book you want. You want the infection protection or the emergency weight loss, okay? So either one, but it is the best. I love it. I love it. And I'm telling you, it's the first time I made Dr. Fuhrman's creamy broccoli soup. Oh, it is so good. We just had some leftovers the other day. Okay, because I freeze it. I make a big batch and I freeze half of it. Okay, so Melissa wants to know how much zinc and D3. And by the way, if you have a question, type in a Q because I'll go past it if I don't see it. How much zinc and D3 does Dr. Fuhrman suggest to help with immunity?
The answer in our supplements, we put in about some of our supplements have 1,000. And some have 2,000. Most people who, as they get older, we give 2,000 to keep their levels in the normal range. We don't want to push them out of the normal range. So we don't want people to take too much vitamin D. And if 2,000 is not enough for you, you're most likely not taking it with a meal that has nuts in it to facilitate the absorption of vitamin D. In
At
other words,
night?
take it with food and take it with your meal that includes nuts. So that you should, we usually serve, if we're having 3 meals a day, we're having some flax seeds or chia seeds or hemp seeds or walnuts with breakfast. And we're having a salad dressing that has half an ounce of nuts and seeds in it. So you take your vitamin D with that meal because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, and most people whose levels are still low, who are already supplementing adequately, is because they're taking it on an empty stomach or taking it with a meal that does not contain.
I learned another new thing. That's awesome. So I will put my vitamin D because I don't think I absorb as well, and so maybe it's because I'm taking it at night in an empty stomach.
You're not taking it on. You're taking it on an empty stomach. Do not take it on empty stomach. You're wasting it then.
Can I take it during the day, like instead of taking it at night? Can I take it during my breakfast?
Take it with breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Take it with a meal.
Any food, so it doesn't have to be at night. Okay.
No, it has to be a meal in which you had some nuts or seeds with that meal.
Okay, got it. I'm going to do that from now on. Thank you. You just saved me a lot of money. Okay, so Dr. Fuhrman, do you recommend NAC and what dosage? If you do, what's the dosage?
No, I don't recommend that because we get tons from eating green vegetables, and we get all the B vitamins and all the nicotinamide and niacinamides and N-acetylcysteine. So we get enough without. We don't have to supplement with that.
Okay.
I'm trying to minimize the amount of supplements people need, not maximize what they take. And I'm giving them dosages that are not extreme because as people are aware, too little of anything could be a problem, but too much of anything could be a problem as well. That's why you can't get you can't get the right answer from anybody, because you have these people who are going to claim that you don't need anything because they'll show some data that shows that too much is bad. We have other people that say you need a huge amount because they'll show data that creates deficiencies of bad. And we see the same thing with atrial fibrillation or other irregular heartbeats. That we're looking at something like, I wrote in my book, The End of Heart Disease, that DHA deficiency increase it, and fatty acid deficiencies in general increase the risk of atrial fibrillation. But an excessive amount of the same substance is going to increase risk of atrial fibrillation too. It's the sweet spot in the center that has the lowest risks. So it's the same thing with a lot of nutrients. Too little vitamin D, but too much vitamin D could also not be right, be best either.
Yeah, so it's important that we check ourselves too, because absorption is important. Here I'm thinking, perhaps maybe that's why I'm not absorbing vitamin D as well. Even though I live in Florida, go figure, it's like I take much more than 1,000 milligrams.
Blood level?
Excuse me?
Did you have a blood level that was too low?
It was. And so they had me put on 5,000. And so it's like inching up. So I'm going to switch to that. Okay, Dr. Fuhrman, Babette wants to know which program is best to lose 30 pounds. Well, release 30 pounds. She's 148 pounds, but how tall are you? So 148 pounds for a 5'10" person, 5'10" would be great. Right? That would be about normal.
You'd be a little too thin for a 7'3" person.
Yes, we do have giants listening to the Lillian McDermott radio show Classroom.
We have some basketball players on the Miami Heat. That's too light. They got to eat more nuts.
Okay. So Avi wants to know.
By the way, I had people on the Miami Heat following my program. And
Awesome.
I can't mention names.
No, but 148 pounds, as a Miami Heat person, that would be kind of real skinny. Okay, so Abby wants to know, she says, I eat orange kernels. I don't know what an orange kernel is, together with the whole orange. Can I eat the orange kernels together with the whole orange? I don't
I
know
think
what.
she means the seeds in the orange, maybe. Can she eat the seeds in the orange?
I don't know. Can you explain that, Avi?
I don't recommend she do that. I
No.
would throw, if she occasionally eats one by accident, I wouldn't eat the seeds because they have a little bit of a toxin in them. She, probably not. Unless they're eating the small seeds.
Seeds. She did say seeds. Yes. Or they said seeds. So the kernels are the seeds. So no seeds.
Not in a regular size orange because the seeds are bigger, but in a small orange, like a kumquat, has edible seeds, and you're better off eating the seeds in those oranges. Yes.
Okay.
Even some lemons, you could eat the seeds on them because they're small and they're, it depends on the type of the orange. But yes, for the bigger oranges, don't eat them.
Okay, good. Okay, so Eunice asked, she said, Dr. Fuhrman, do you think we need iodine, and what is your opinion on getting vitamin C IVs?
I don't think it's helpful if you're eating right, because getting more of something you already have an adequate exposure to wouldn't be as helpful.
That is the loudest. You scared me, Dr. Fuhrman. Okay.
So yes, so we're already getting more than adequate vitamin C. It's not something hard to find exposure to. So by then taking more of what we already have exposure to, we're better off taking things we don't have exposure to. More variety of phytochemicals.
Well, Dr. Fuhrman, time just flew. The music is playing.
That's it.
Well, we still have the teacher's pet. So if you could just hold on for 5 minutes afterwards. I am so grateful to you. Thank you so much. Remember, claim it. We're going to do the little teacher's pet corner. So if you're listening on podcast, you can always join us. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Fuhrman wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Oh boy. Robert.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Zoom has just started doing some things like you need to unmute yourself and it's crazy. And we need to figure out what these settings are. So Noel, I didn't know if that was a question or if you're making a statement. Let me see. We have lots of people claiming. So make sure if you want to win one of the Dr. Fuhrman's on Fridays when I'm going to do it. So if you're listening on podcast, which you probably won't be hearing now because the podcast is done. But if you're watching later on, maybe later on today or tomorrow, on Friday, we are going to be giving these out. So make sure you get on it right away. Claim it now because now is the only thing you have. Okay, so 407-373-5959. Just make a comment. You've got to text me 407-373-5959. So Noel says, let's see, I've got another comment come in. It was a question. Okay, Noel. Okay, you didn't put a Q, so let me check. Okay, so it says, I've lost weight eating only vegetables along with meat and eggs, no bread, no sugar, no pasta, no fast food, only natural food, some sausage. Okay, whatever I have tried to lose weight, eating beans, potatoes, along with vegetables and fruit, I have a hard time losing weight. I just dropped 20 pounds eating an only natural food. So Dr. Fuhrman, do you want to recommend? I mean, the sausage, I think that would be.
Well, that's the really purpose of a nutritarian diet. It gives people a healthy way to lose weight.
Yeah.
If what they tried in the past doesn't work for them, and they go on these crazy fad diets that cause cancer. So this particular person's eating a dangerous diet to lose weight, which is working for him. And I would say you could snort cocaine and smoke cigarettes simultaneously to lose weight, but it's still just because it works for you doesn't mean it recommended. Yeah. It may cause some short-term weight loss, but he's doing it in a very dangerous way. And there's no benefit to him because if he doesn't stay eating that way, the weight's going to come back anyway. So what's the point of doing it short-term? Because he can't stay eating that diet, which is exceedingly dangerous and going to kill him. Yes. So a nutritarian diet would enable him to lose weight and still eat the healthy foods and eat some healthy carbohydrate foods that contain phytochemicals. And without having the starch component, that heavily starch component that leads to high insulin, because we focus on the lower glycemic carbohydrates that he wasn't focusing on before. Mm-hmm. So when he does this, he'll become less insulin resistant, be able to consume some carbohydrates with moderate to low glycemic effects without causing the weight not to lose or regain. And our people following this program always lose 2 to 3 pounds a week when they come here. And it certainly is easy for a male to drop weight, easily to drop 2 pounds a week if he follows the program the way it's written.
Yeah,
And we're
and so
available to help. And also on my at drfuhrman.com, I answer people's questions. I help them tweak it. I can help them, give them guidance if they become a member, so we can get I can work with him directly to make sure he's not going to gain weight or he's going to lose weight adequately without putting his life on the line, eating all those dangerous high animal proteins.
Yeah, yeah. And, and so I don't know how much weight you want to release. So I don't know if the emergency weight loss program would be good or if the infection protection, it sounds like, but I've got Dr. Fuhrman, I have my cousin, just recently, as you know, we talked about juicing and fasting and all that. And I just completed 7 days, which was really nice. And she decided to do it. And so she started fasting. She, if anybody wants to fast, Dr. Fuhrman recommends that you go, you get rid of some toxins before you start juicing and all of that by eating all raw or nutritarian, basically pristine diet. Anyway, she has done so well that in a very short period of time, she's released a lot of weight. Her skin is looking better. And so, people don't realize that all the years of yo-yo dieting that, when you focus on something that works and you start building on that, when you go back to your old ways, you are going to gain weight. Would you like to say anything about that, Dr. Fuhrman, that, this is a lifestyle change, right?
I'd like to say a plug for why I wrote Eat for Life. I mean, they could take one of these my T20 series, which gives them menu plans and recipes and shopping lists and all that stuff. But reading the book Eat for Life, which is a bigger book with more information in it, is the secret to being satisfied and staying with this long term, because the knowledge is going to set you free. Mm-hmm. Being the expert, you being the scientist, you getting your PhD in human nutrition and understanding the addictive nature of foods, the difficulties in changing your diet, or understanding all these fad diets and why all these claims are false, looking at the overwhelming amount of evidence that is now irrefutable for this way of eating. That's really going to be, so even I'm talking to this person who chose to lose weight that way, it's really comes from him not knowing any better and not learning it.
Correct.
Really encouraging them is as hard as it is, and people don't want to read, they don't want to learn, they don't want to sit there with a 250-page book or something. I'm really suggesting, if you've had trouble, and the knowledge is going to set you free. To learn more is going to make this so easy. So I really highly recommend my most complete and most recent manuscript.
Yes. And we all have that book because we've given it away, right, Dr. Fuhrman? And so many people have bought it that it's a bestseller now, right?
It is my 7th New York Times bestseller. That's correct.
Yes. Congratulations. Okay, Dr. Fuhrman, Babette reached back out and she said she's 148 and she is 5'4".
So why is she reaching out? What's her question?
Oh, no. So she had said that which program is best to lose 30 pounds, release 30 pounds. She is 148. And you had said, well, is she 7'2" and she's 5'4". So.
We were just kidding around. She said she needed to lose 30 pounds. So, so she does need to lose at least 30 pounds. Her weight should be below 115, actually.
Okay.
5'4". But nevertheless, or 120 the most, she's big boned or something, or very muscular. Certainly. Yeah. I don't care what program she does, as long as she drops 2 pounds a week. She can take any of my programs and tweak it to lose. She wants to do it most aggressively right now because this is risky with COVID. I would say go right for the emergency weight loss program and just do it. All the menus are there, what to shop, what to eat, is there. But either one of those,
yes,
would have the ability to, because she's got to stay with this long term anyway.
Yes.
So getting, so either one, as long as she does it, she's going to see results.
Yes. And Dr. Fuhrman, I know that your time is always, because you have so many people at the retreat center. So Eat to Live Retreat Center. For those of you who want to learn more, you can, either call me or call them. Let them know that you heard about it on the Lillian McDermott radio show Classroom, because, Dr. Fuhrman takes time out of his busy schedule. So it's nice to know that he is doing great work here in the classroom. And by you letting him know that you're grateful that he comes on here every month. For those of you who want to know about the nutritarian lifestyle, and maybe this is the first time that you've heard about it. I know that Eunice is asking, is the nutritarian diet on Dr. Fuhrman's website. you can get any of his books, and that'll explain it. Even in the PDF, it gives you highlights of the nutritarian lifestyle. But is there anything you want to add about the nutritarian lifestyle before you go, Dr. Fuhrman?
No, but we have at drfuhrman.com we have like get started packets of like one or two booklets in one book, or we have a whole get started things to read there as well, so they could learn more about it.
Yeah, and Dr. Fuhrman has been in the classroom. In this classroom since 2015. That's 5 years, coming on every month. I know you say, wow, every time I say it. And so time has flown. We have learned so much from Dr. Fuhrman. So there's lots of videos with Dr. Fuhrman here in the classroom. Dr. Fuhrman has done PBS specials. And the latest one is for his latest book. And so there's so much information out there that once you know this stuff, there's no other alternative, because there's so much flexibility in a nutritarian lifestyle. And that's what I love about being a nutritarian. And it's funny when people ask me, are you vegan? It's like, okay, well, I'm primarily whole food plant-based, but I'm a nutritarian. And so if I want to have, within 0 to 5% of my animal products, I am, I'm not going to guilt myself into it. I know it's going to help my body if I feel that I need it. But sometimes I don't even have the animal products. So people like to label, and then they get so stuck to the label, but focusing on nutrient rich foods is just, for me, it just made sense, Dr. Fuhrman. So I'm really grateful to you for everything that you do, not only in the classroom, but everyone that gets to hear your message, their life has changed. So thank you.
You are welcome.
You're welcome. Okay, guys. So, okay, I know you got to go, Dr. Fuhrman. Enjoy your apartment living.
Hotel room living.
Hotel room living, and I'm glad that you are now focusing on your new place. So congratulations. Dr. Fuhrman has, changed from living in New Jersey to now living in California, and now he is Pacific timer. And I'm so nice to see the great work that he's doing after oh my gosh, all the efforts that you've put into your career. It's so nice to see you be able to relax a little and do the things that you really, really love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Lily.
So Dr. Fuhrman, we'll see you. I know you need to go, but I want to acknowledge all of you that are in the classroom. Melissa, let me see, all of you who, Noel, Victoria, Myrna, I know that you're claiming your health back. Make sure that you also claim it in here. Let's see. Melissa, Victoria, Noel, you guys are rocking it here. Kimberly, thank you so much for sharing. Robin, you know what to do, so claim it. Let's see. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. Linda and Melissa. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I missed your questions. I hope I didn't, but Dr. Fuhrman comes back all the time. So make sure you share the love and send love. Let us know where you were watching from today, because that's the only way we know that you've even attended the classroom. So make your presence known and share this, like this. This is the only way we're going to grow this information. How many of you just learned about the nutritarian lifestyle today? How many of you? It's time to share this information. Let's not just keep it to ourselves. You need to include all your friends, your family, and teach them how to eat these wonderful, to live for foods. And so I hope that you learned something new today, and you're excited, that you're claiming it, that you text me at 407-373-5959. And you're welcome, Linda, for Dr. Fuhrman answering your question. And I love the big salads every day for lunch. Yes. And sometimes, if you don't want to have a salad for lunch, there's other nutritarian options that you can have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when you get those PDFs, it tells you exactly what to eat every day. What I did when I did the infection protection, so here's a little tip. We recorded all our sessions. Dr. Fuhrman was a part of it as well. I made a large batch of it, and I ate what I needed to eat. I froze the rest. So you can have it as many people buy frozen foods, but if you look at the frozen foods, you'll see that it's high in sodium, very high in sodium. So if you're making your foods without sodium, without sugar, without oils, and you're freezing, you know exactly all the ingredients that were there that were made from love. And you can continue on those days that you're busy. Like I've gotten so many busy days lately, or a lot. It's nice to have meals that I can just pull out of my freezer the day before, knowing that tomorrow is going to be a busy day. Stop sabotaging yourself and stop going back to what brought you to needing to release weight in the first place. Maintain your health with foods that are just to live for. And so I hope, oh, we got lots of comments now. Let me see. I will, before I go, let me check them out. Okay. I want to promise you, if you take the time to be in the classroom. Oh, Krista, you're from Rochester. Great. I hope that you're safe in New York. And Robin is from PA. Let's see. Eunice is from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Beautiful Maryland. Good. I'm so glad that you guys are wanting the books. And so make sure you claim it. Let me go switch over to YouTube. When you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm seeing if you have any questions that we can answer. Let's see. Nirvacho, Lillian, would it be possible to ask to go back to a second part of the question up there? Oh, I didn't see a second part. I thought those were the same questions. I'm so sorry. Let's see. And eating wild edibles, roots can provide. Well, I think he answered that without me reading the question. So the second question is, and eating wild edibles, roots, and all can provide the needed B12 as it is for wild herbivores. I think he said that if you are not doing the supplements, that you may need to do some animal products. Check out your B12 levels. And again, I am not a clinician. I'm not Dr. Fuhrman, but I think he said, check out your B12 levels and see what is good for you. What good for you may not be what's good for me. And that's what I love about the nutritarian lifestyle, because it is tailor-made for what you need, not for what I need. Okay, so let's see. Babette, you're welcome. I'm glad that you were able to get your question answered. You put a Q there, but I don't know if you have a question, but thank you, Babette. I'm glad that you were able to join us today. Let me go back. I am claiming my health. Okay, Babette, if you're claiming your health, make sure you put it on the phone, 407-373-5959. This is where you take your health back. This is where we take responsibility. And by the way, you know, I've been doing the New Truth series, Book of Revelation, and that has been so wonderful with Dr. Lorraine Day. But here's the deal. The New Truth series is going to be of different things. If you're sabotaging yourself, we're going to have a New Truth series for that. If you are feeling that, victimized, we're going to do the I Am the Solution New Truth series. So there's going to be so many workshops and seminars that we're going to continue doing. If you want to be a part of the Dr. Lorraine Days, who's going to be, she's giving her research. She's sharing her research on the New Truth series. If you go to whenyounneedafriend.com, you can go to my New Truth series. The one thing that we have in the New Truth series right now is the Bible study. And that has been so wonderful for many of us. But just know that we're going to continue to grow. It's not just what you eat, but it's also the thoughts, the way you stress, the way you handle childhood traumas, releasing all of that. And so that, as a life coach and someone who's been interviewing since 2011, such great teachers, I've taken all that and I've created, ways to help others help themselves. So I want to encourage you to subscribe to my website so that when we start when we launch a new series, that you can be a part of that classroom, even if you're not a part of the one that's currently happening. And by the way, even if we've started, we've done 2 sessions with, actually, we did a bonus and 2 sessions. So we're on week 3 for the Book of Revelation. Many people are frustrated and anxious about the end of time. And we are, instead of listening to what the mainstream media has to say about what's currently happening, let's hear what God has to say. And Dr. Lorraine Day is phenomenal. So I'm excited about that. Oh, by the way, Lillian, you are going to get your book pretty soon. So I know you were the one that won the emergency weight loss loss. And I hope you're doing things to start releasing and getting your body ready. Melissa, you're from East Tennessee. I love that. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Lillian is from my namesake. How can I'm always going to remember Lillian. Okay. She's from New Jersey. So I know that all of you are claiming your health. And this is what this is what they don't tell us. Everything you need is inside of you. Everything you need to heal is inside of you. Once you start altering that course, things get a little tougher. They just get a little tougher for you because we're trying to reinvent what God created within you. So I want to encourage you to get in tune with what is causing us to sabotage, what is causing us to feel victimized, what is causing us. And so I want to encourage you to join either the New Truth series, so that whenever there's one that tickles your fancy, you'll be a part and join us. This is outside of what we learn in the classroom. This is going deeper. This is really the real classroom. So if you're ready to take your life back, eating vegetables alone is not going to do it. It's a spirit, mind, body journey. Yes, we want to learn how to maneuver our cars. Yes, we want to learn, how to put that shelf together. But before you do all that, let's learn how to put yourself together, as well as doing all the other things that we are called to do. But I just want to encourage you that if you're feeling, lost or sad or anxious or depressed, and it could be that there's something missing within, and there's nothing wrong with research. If you're feeling that right now, I say congratulations. You're listening to your intuition. You're listening to whatever it is that is calling you to take that next step. So anyway, I'm just going to say goodbye now. And it looked like we went off the air and now we're back on. So anyway, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to say goodbye. I know that I didn't want to keep Dr. Fuhrman on. Isn't he wonderful? If this is the first time you're learning about Dr. Fuhrman, just make sure you learn. If you could go to whenyounneedafriend.com, and in my shopping bag section, all his information, the emergency weight loss boot camp is there. I don't know if you can continue doing that, but I know it's in there. Also, if you want to go to his website, you can do that as well. And if you want to change your life, and first step is that nutrition is so key. My cousin, we had a conversation with her today. She released 12 pounds doing a juice fast, and she's now on her 10th day. Someone who never would imagine her life without eating donuts for breakfast in the morning. She sounded so energized, so happy, because see, that's the lie. That's the deceiver. That if you take that pill, it's going to make your life better. But the reality is food is medicine. Food is medicine. And I want to invite you into this journey of your life, the life that was created perfectly just for you, and that you will join in my journey with a New Truth series, as well as whatever it is that you gain from the classroom today and tomorrow and the next day. So I'm going to say goodbye for now because it's time for me to eat my leftover, what did I make? I made primavera sauce, all scratched, no salt in it, and it's so delicious. So I want to encourage you to explore the kitchen in a way that is going to be to live for. So we'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Take care. Bye. Let me see.